Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I am the Evolving Shorty, and I'm very cold today, so let's get this done. Today we are going to be reviewing Doctor Strange, not just any Doctor Strange though, Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise, to give it its full title. And this has been on my radar for a little while because it's Trad Moore, not just Trad, but Heather as well. I don't know their relationship. I don't want to make any assumptions. Maybe they just met at a convention, were amazed by having the same surname and become cool friends. I don't know. I honestly haven't looked into it. Didn't feel like it was important. But what they've done is created a comic book, and because Trad Moore's name is at the front of it, I made the assumption he was writing and doing the art. He's correct. Heather Moore is doing the colouring. And Trad Moore as an artist is one who I have been aware of for quite some time, mostly from their cover work, including comic books that I've bought and enjoyed and loved. But sometimes the covers don't really do it for me. My very first encounter of his work was a Venom cover, and I remember thinking very quickly on it, it's like, wow, the foreshortening on that is bad. And don't get me wrong, I don't base all my artistic enjoyment on just purely technical things, but when I first saw it, I was then like, okay, let's hope he can do some other stuff. And I dipped in and out, and I very rarely saw stuff that really spoke to me. His Silver Surfer Black was quite cool, I guess. His Department of Truth covers are okay, but the Simmons ones I prefer. But Doctor Strange felt like a really good fit for me, and it honestly didn't take me long to realise that this is a truth. It is a really good fit for him, because first off, he just takes Doctor Strange, I presume, away from Earth. I don't know if it's to an alternate reality, a different version of Earth, a different planet, a different level of reality. I'm not 100% sure on this one. Maybe there's some deep Marvel lore that he's digging into here, but this is issue 1 of a series, and I always try to do my reviews assuming that people will come into it not really knowing everything that's gone on in the background of the character, and can just pick up and read this stock comic book, and they absolutely can. Even though, quite weirdly, it starts with a poem. Now, if you've watched my reviews for a while, you know that's not really a turn-off for me. I have, in the past, stopped to read out brilliant lines that have a lyrical lint to them. Ram V coming to mind instantly. And these are good. They do work better read out loud, particularly because the way you pronounce the word year, or year, might actually change depending on your accent, and it might make the poem scan a little bit better for you, but it is definitely worth reading them out loud. And the story itself is pretty good. He is Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, defender of Earth from magical threats, and he's somewhere else, doesn't know how he got there, and he's trying to figure things out and maybe get back. And he does this while trying to figure things out, and the dialogue here is one of the things I loved about this comic book, because it's not really a dialogue between two characters for the most part. It's his thoughts and his memories and his thought processes, trying to figure out what's going on while being interrupted by his vocalization, or sometimes the other way around. It makes it feel like a conversation. It makes it feel natural, even though it's also weird that that's how his thought processes would work with the actual reality of his world. This just brilliant little take on how you're going to do writing for a comic book where we are dealing with reality potentially not being what you think it is. Genuinely solid start, and then we're going to get into the artwork. And yes, I'm going to talk about the artwork in detail, but before we just one minor thing, my only gripe, my only complaint, my only reason not to tell you to go out and buy this comic straight away, but maybe to wait for trade, is there's a lot of adverts in this comic book. It's Marvel Comics, and they put them everywhere, and it's always for Marvel things. And honestly, with a comic book this tightly focused, where the pacing is so meticulously planned, there are times it's very, very annoying. But Trad Moore cannot be blamed for that. Heather Moore cannot be blamed for that. Their work is impeccable. In fact, it goes a bit above and beyond impeccable. It goes to a place where I find myself wanting to inhabit the world so I can get a better sense of what's going on. 3D situations in 2D art, time in static images. These are all things which I've talked about fairly often when I review comic books, and the best artists are the ones who can deal with that limitation of form, the limitation of media, more effectively than others. Trad Moore goes beyond that to the point where you have to occasionally remind yourself that these are still images, these are just flat pictures, because he uses formalism to give a sense of depth. He uses repetitive imagery to show time. His landscapes are huge and deep and immaculate, and then you get into action, and it's fast and frenetic. His layouts and the fact that he uses smaller panels to get things happening quickly, it's a trick I've seen done in a few other places. Flash Year One instantly stopped my mind. Even Bloodshot, the one I'm reading at the moment, does this kind of thing to show combat. It doesn't just do it for combat, though. There's also a really wonderful bit of a flashback where you get the entire thing with Dormammu done in a panel that's about that big in the middle of all the stuff that's going on. This is an immaculate comic book. It might not quite make it onto my best of the year list simply because we're in the tail end of the year and I might just get one more issue before I do my end of the year thing, and that's not really enough. But it's certainly going to get an honorable mention, and I'm really hoping it's going to maintain this kind of pacing and style. It is brilliant. It is potentially the best looking comic book I've read this year, Wonder Woman story being last year's. It's something special, and I genuinely think if you're lucky enough to have a comic book store that has it on the shelf, you should go and buy it as soon as you possibly can. I'm seeing that it's already kind of sold out in a lot of places, and the prices are going up on eBay. If you have a brick and mortar store near you, go and buy it. I'm almost sure, like 99.9% sure, you'll not be disappointed. That's it from me now. I've gone in my 5 minutes a little bit. I will do another one later. If you don't want to miss out on anything, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It'd be really cool if you did. We're almost at 500 subscribers, which I know is tiny in YouTube terms, but I quite like big numbers, and 500 is quite big. Until I see you again, though, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.